from the ANCA on what promises to be a very busy day here in Washington, D.C. I woke up this morning to reports on our local network TV of major street closures, parking restrictions, and security alerts for downtown Washington, around the Willard Hotel where President Erdogan is staying. They parked, I think, about 40, 50 dump trucks as some kind of barrier around the hotel. They've closed off most of the streets around that area. Plus, they have a major security presence at the Turkish Embassy on 25th and Mass, also at Sheridan Circle, 23rd and Mass, and it's going to be quite a difficult traffic day here in the nation's capital. For us, it's a day of protest. We've spent the last couple of weeks on Capitol Hill working on the adoption of HRS 296, the near unanimous adoption of the Armenian Genocide resolution. We're very busy at work in the U.S. Senate. Pleased to report that this morning, Senator Michael Bennet of Colorado and Senator Bob Casey of Pennsylvania, both Democrats, are our most recent co-sponsors of the Armenian Genocide resolution. We expect to have additional names. That brings us over 25. I think there's really very little limit on how much support we can build on this resolution. The real question remains, what will the leadership in the Senate do? Will they allow an up or down vote? We are confident that with an up or down vote, we have an overwhelming bipartisan adoption in the Senate as well. So it's really in the hands of the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell. We look to him to do the right thing. So today, if you are within driving distance of Washington, D.C., if you work or live or study in our nation's capital, please, it's going to be cold, but please make the trip to Lafayette Park. We'll be starting a little before noon. The president's schedule indicates that he will greet Erdogan. He and his wife, the president and his wife, will greet Erdogan and his wife at the White House at around noon. So we're going to arrive early. We'll be at Lafayette Park, across the street, across Pennsylvania Avenue from the White House. I imagine as early as 11 or so, but please come as early as you can, stay as late as you can. The schedule right now, according to the White House, is that there'll be all sorts of meetings during the day between 12 and 3:45. There'll be a press conference where they'll announce, whatever they discussed and whatever they agreed upon, and then at that point, Erdogan will leave. We understand that he has additional obligations or meetings today at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which is also near the White House, and there's like another, event, a visit to a mosque, which I think is also located near the Turkish Embassy on Massachusetts Avenue. So he has other elements of his schedule as well. We'll be moving from the White House to Sheridan Circle as the president's meeting with Erdogan wraps up. So that's probably closer to 4:30 in that range. We'll play it by ear. I do encourage you to follow the ANCA on Twitter. That's where we'll have the latest updates. It's ANCA_DC, @ANCA_DC. So there'll be lots of stuff going on here in Washington. We're very proud to partner with a whole range of organizations. We're here with the American Rojava Center, which is a Kurdish group that's working on Kurdish rights and Kurdish liberty, in a very, very serious way here in Washington. We have many, many Greek friends, including the Hellenic American Leadership Council, the American Hellenic Institute, AHEPA, and many others. We have Assyrian and Chaldean groups. We have Christian groups. We're proud, as always, to partner with In Defense of Christians, which has done just heroic work. Much of the broad base of support we saw for HRS 296 was a result of our work with In Defense of Christians, and we're deeply grateful for all that they brought to this effort. So the protest today is a coalition effort. It's many, many Kurds, many Armenians, Greeks, and others, human rights advocates, people who believe in religious liberty, people who don't think that Erdogan should preside over the #1 imprisonment of journalists worldwide. So there's absolutely no shortage of reasons why protesters will show up today. It's going to be cold. So, those brave souls among you who are in the area, please come on out to Lafayette Park today. If you can't make it out, if for some reason, it's too far a drive or you can't catch a last minute flight, joking. If you just can't make it, please follow us on social media. We will be live streaming the protest on the ANCA Facebook page, on the ANCA Twitter account, and on the ANCA YouTube channel. All you really need to do is just share the feed. And that way we can multiply the number of people who are engaged in this process, and in a sense have a larger presence at the protest. I mean, not everyone at the protest needs to be at the protest. They can be sharing the event online and in a sense educating their own circle about Erdogan, why his visit is so controversial, and why we're protesting his presence here in Washington. He's certainly getting the red carpet treatment. If the last protest is any indication, we need to be concerned about the threat of violence, the threat of renewed violence by Erdogan's bodyguards. They have a terrible track record of beating up, assaulting with impunity citizens. They did it in Washington in May of 2017, but they've also done it. That video seen by tens of millions of people helped shine a spotlight on Turkey and essentially transform what was just a isolated violent incident into global scrutiny of Ankara's outrageous conduct here in the U.S. There's been lots of coverage this time around as well. You can check out a National Public Radio piece that we worked with, and they quoted us. There's been some articles in the Jerusalem Post, the Washington Examiner, and a whole range of other media outlets that have talked to us, but also others who are involved in this process. It's going to be part of the narrative of today's news cycle here in Washington. So you can be part of that. So please, if you can come to the protest, come to the protest. If you are unable to come to the protest, share our live stream on ANCA Facebook page, ANCA Twitter account, and the ANCA YouTube channel. With that, I'm gonna got my megaphone here. We're going to be joined with local Armenians, with a special presence of the Armenian Youth Federation, whose history of protest is really epic. And we look forward to working with all our partners at the protest today. Please do stay tuned. We hope that it will be an interesting and productive day.